Hello, in this short video we're just going to talk briefly about variable type. The type of a variable matters because programs manage and store data differently depending on the type. This is a really important idea. So whereas if I give, for an example, my area code is 416, you'll remember that and you can treat that as a number or as a string interchangeably. So you could use that in a sentence, your area code is 416, or you could use that as a number. So your area code +1 is 417. And that's something we do naturally as people. But computers can't do that. So a computer will remember 416 like this is a string, and 416 like this is an integer. And even though we look at them the same, the way a computer stores 416 as a string and 416 as an integer, and even 416 as a float, will change the way it's stored and worked with. And so this video, I want to highlight 4 main types we want to start with. The first type is a string. So if I say name equals Phil Smith, this is a string, and I can tell it's a string because it is contained within quotes. Python supports single or double quotes. So I can store a string using single or double quotes. So food could be pizza. So these are examples of strings. Strings, there's 2 things we want to think about when we want to think about strings. We want to think about the length and the index values. So name has a length of, I'll put a comment at the end, length of, and we just simply count all the characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So notice I counted the space. That counts in the length. So the length is 10, and the indexes go from 0 to 9. And so indexes for strings always start at 0, and they always go to the length -1. In this case, the length is, if we take the length, we say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the index values are 0 to 4, and those are strings. The next type that we want to familiarize ourselves with are numeric types. So we have 2 numeric types, generally speaking, that we'll start with. And the first is integers. So if I say num I1 equals, and I put 7, because there's no decimal point, this is stored as an integer. And so integers can be positive or negative, but integers have no decimal value. And integers are what we call 32-bit values, meaning it has 32 bits of memory. Well, if with a programming language we want to access decimal values, we talk about floats or doubles. Now, floats and doubles, there is a difference, but for our purposes, we can just think of them as real values. So if I say num f1, if I put 7.0, this is a float. And I know it's a float because it has a 0.0 value. If I say num f2 and I put 7.45, this is a float. It's a float because I have a 0.45 value. In Python, we tend to talk about and work with floats. The last type that we're going to have to familiarize ourselves with are Booleans. So Booleans are true or false. So we can think of a Boolean as a flag, and we have 2 Booleans. We have true and we have false. And notice how the color changes here. And the color will change differently depending on what IDE you're using, but these are reserved words. This is not a string true because there's no quotes around it. Flag 1 has the value true, and flag 2 has the value false. And these are the 4 main numeric types that we're going to be focusing on and kind of developing. Finally, what I want you to walk away from this video understanding is that type matters. How we store values and how a program uses values is impacted by the type. And there's all sorts of funny things that will happen that is related to type. So always, if you're running into a problem, go back to say, what is the type that the program thinks it is? I hope that helped. Have a wonderful day.